Y News with Angelo Castro III, William Theo, and Darlene Basingan.
Good evening. Customs broker Mark Taguba details the illegal transactions happening inside the Bureau of Customs or BOC that helped in the immediate release of his cargo. Taguba claims the so-called Davao Group were one of the three groups meddling in the operation of the BOC. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
Customs broker Mark Taguba claims he bribed a total of 27,000 pesos to some employees and officials of the Bureau of Customs or BOC for every container he wished to no longer pass through strict inspections. From the BOC's intelligence group, district collector, X-ray Pierre inspectors to the assessment group, Taguba says he gave them tara or payroll money. Taguba says he was able to transact with three groups in order to hasten the process of releasing his cargo without alerting the BOC. He identifies several groups. One is allegedly headed by a certain Jojo Bacud. There also is group called the Davao Group, while the other one is headed by a certain General Capuyan.
Ano ang ginawa ni Jojo para sa iyo?
Yun pong para sa SSPDC, which is yung para sa commissioner daw po yun.
BOC officials meanwhile denies that they have an employee named Jojo Bacud. Taguba also claims talking to members of the so-called Davao Group and pointed to Davao City Councilor Nilo Abellara as one of its members. He says he gave 10,000 pesos in bribes to the group for every container. According to the customs broker, he gave up to 1 million pesos to the said group almost every week. This was aside, he alleges, from the 5 million peso cash the group asked of him as an enrollment fee.
Ang nakalagay po sa text niya, "Good day, Mark. Will make final arrangement with Jack. He is the handler of Paulo. Now we have to advance the enroll. He can fly down to Davao to arrange your meeting with Pulong ASAP. During the meeting, you personally turn over the 5 million.
Taguba notes when he encountered problems with the first two groups, he went to General Capuyan's group. This group, he claims, gave him the codes for the immediate release of his containers out of the BOC.
May instruction sila sa akin na meron silang binigay na email, bubuksan ko raw yun, nandoon lahat ng tariff codes na gagamitin ko.
According to Taguba, he is just one of the many brokers undergoing such an illegal scheme in the BOC. The Senate has already sought the help of the National Bureau of Investigation to determine the identities of the other members of the Davao Group allegedly meddling in the operations of the Bureau of Customs. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
Outgoing Bureau of Customs Commissioner Nicanor Faildon believes leaving his position would be for the welfare of the country. Jun Soriao will tell us why.
A Bureau of Customs chief usually stays in his or her position for 1 year and 6 months. For various reasons, several BOC chiefs had stepped down from their post voluntarily, but they were never asked to resign. Just last night, President Rodrigo Duterte announced that he accepted the resignation of Customs Commissioner Nicanor Faildon. Faildon had been the chief of the Bureau for 1 year and barely 2 months only. It is said that Faildon had approached the chief executive 3 times to signify his intention to step down from his post. The current Director General of the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency or PDEA under Secretary Isidro La Peña will replace Faildon as the new customs chief. PNP Region 3 Director Chief Superintendent Aaron Aquino will fill in the position of La Peña in PDEA.
But the Bureau of Customs has a rotten system. You need somebody to have a system there, a new one, and a competent military man can do it, just like Gerald La Peña. Kaya niya yan. And I have General La Peña enjoys my confidence and trust, which is very important.
In a statement released by Faildon, the outgoing customs chief says his resignation is for the welfare of the country. He also thanked those who supported the BOC during his tenure and urges the public to support the agency's new commissioner. It can be recalled that in his interview on the program Get It Straight with Daniel Razon, Faildon says he would never resign just because of pressing criticisms. He stressed during the interview that if he was no longer in the position, it only meant one thing, that he was kicked out by the president himself.
So meaning to say, pagka ho nawala kayo sa Bureau of Customs, kinick out na kayo talaga ng presidente. Yun
The
lang.
president asked me, Nick, time to rest. But kung sila lang...
So hindi ako dapat maniwala na pag ba, nadinig ko sa balita, Commissioner Faeldon nag-resign for health reasons. Commissioner Faeldon nag-resign for personal reasons. Hindi ako dapat maniwala doon. Dapat isipin ko, hindi, sinipa yan. Ganun.
Sinipa ako ng presidente.
Jun Suriao, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Meanwhile, China has reportedly planted its flag in areas within the West Philippine Sea, but the Department of Foreign Affairs says Filipinos should not worry about the recent Chinese activity. Grace Casin will tell us why.
Magdalo Party List Representative Gary Alejano claims it has been almost a month since China planted its flag in an area 7 nautical miles northeast of Kota Island. The lawmaker has expressed graver concern over receiving new information about the matter. Alejano says since the Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA remains mum on the said issue, China slowly invades the territory within the Philippines' jurisdiction.
Allegedly erected the said 3-meter-high Chinese flag on a sand cay which is known to be within a Philippine-controlled area. Yung report na binanggit ko kanina, ito yung Kota Island, ito yung flag.
On the other hand, the DFA says the government is in full control of the situation in the West Philippine Sea and that Filipino authorities would never allow the grabbing of any parts of the Philippines. Foreign Affairs Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano says they're doing steps to resolve the matter, noting that they just not making public the government's strategy so that it would become effective.
Assuming na may flag, sino naglagay at may inhabitant ba, hindi ba inhabit, etc. So what we're assuring the people is we'll deal with it. We don't tell you the specifics, but that doesn't mean na hindi namin naasikaso.
However, Alejano says,
Hindi po pwede yung strategy of silence. Hindi natin alam yung ginagawa nila. So, I think it is my duty to inform the people.
So let me assure you na despite the lack of details that we give you, we will tell you if there is an alarming situation.
Meanwhile, the DFA allies the public's fear over the issue, further noting that the relationship between China and the Philippines under the Duterte administration continued to improve.
So let me assure you, wala nang problema dun sa area na yon. Kung nagka-problema man, it was resolved diplomatically, but it is not true that there was a attempt na i-invade or agawin.
Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
The Department of Agriculture lifts the ban on the transportation of chickens and other poultry products outside of Luzon. Ray Pelayo tells us why.
Australian Animal Health Laboratory confirms positive presence of bird flu in San Luis.
The Department of Agriculture or DA confirms that the fowls in San Luis, Pampanga tested positive of avian influenza based on the examination of an Australian laboratory to chicken samples sent by the Philippine authorities. Agriculture officials initially announced that the chickens tested negative of the N1 strain of the virus, which can be transmitted to humans, and that they would need 3 days to determine if the chickens were positive of N6 strain, which can also infect humans. For now, the DA lifts the ban on the transportation of chickens and other poultry products out of Luzon. This only as long as the chickens are not from farms within the 7-kilometer radius control zone in San Luis, Pampanga, and in the towns of Jaen and San Isidro in Nueva Ecija. Those planning to deliver chickens need to secure first a certification from the quarantine office of the Department of Agriculture. The DA says it also considers the impact of the outbreak to the industry of poultry in the country. Agriculture officials are hoping that the local government units in Luzon will cooperate with them and would have all poultry products to be outside of Luzon undergo strict inspection.
Beyond the emotional considerations, ang unang consideration talaga, most important of all, is biosecurity consideration. Nung ina-assure ako ng mga eksperto natin na okay na,
Chicken poultry raisers have already lost billions in income and are hoping to regain their losses. Some chicken raisers have already imposed a very low price of 10 pesos per every live chicken.
Kami yun rin ang gusto namin. Consumer confidence, producer confidence, to really assure everyone that the products we're producing outside of the containment zones are safe.
The DA will also set up posters at public markets as certification that the chickens the vendors are selling are safe to eat. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The cleanup of poultry and backyard farms in San Luis, Pampanga, which is within the 1-kilometer quarantine radius, begins today. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
Residents of San Luis, Pampanga hopes their town would soon become avian flu virus-free. This following the culling of thousands of chickens infected with the bird flu. Earlier, authorities began the cleanup of poultry and backyard farms within the 1-kilometer quarantine radius.
Sana may kami lang parang kagad makarecover itong makabalik agad yung mga negosyo ng mga taga rito at ma-clear yung aming bayan, yung barangay sa naging virus.
Kaya naglilinis kami para nga yung hindi ka magkakasakit.
Para makaiwas nga sa sinasabing virus. Tsaka kailangan
Para malinis ang ang kapaligiran natin. Makaiwas sa virus, sa dumi.
After this, the disinfecting of the area will begin, which would last for 21 days. The next step is the Department of Agriculture or DA's conduct of sentinel chicken serology to determine if the virus in the area has been totally eradicated. In this process, authorities will bring chickens to the cleaned poultry farms. After 2 days, they will examine the blood of the fowls to determine the presence of microbes in their bodies. Authorities will cull the chickens if they find traces of the virus in their bodies and will clean and disinfect anew the poultry farms. Thus, they would again conduct sentinel chicken serology.
Pag-aaral pa na within 21 days tapos tapos hanggang 90 days bago makapagsimula.
It might take 3 to 4 months before business operations of poultry farms within the 1-kilometer quarantine radius will return to normal. Meanwhile, the local government of Candaba distributed 4,000 chickens in Pampanga earlier this morning. Mayor Danilo Bailon says the move aims to show the public that chickens in Luzon, particularly in other towns in Pampanga, remain virus-free.
Ay para ipakita rin natin sa buong Pilipinas na ang broiler o yung 45 days na manok hindi naapektuhan.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The culling operation of bird flu-infested fowls begins today in Nueva Ecija. Leslie Longbowen tells us why.
About 34,400 poultry animals have been culled in Nueva Ecija since this morning. However, some residents of the province have negative reaction to the culling operation.
Maraming nagagalit, kaya lang, siyempre, sa kapakanan naman ng taong bayan, hindi naman sa kapakanan ng nila. Maapektuhan ang buong bayan. Yun nga, sabi nga namin, talagang utos yun na sa 1 kilometer, papatayin, walang ititira. Papatayin na hindi nila kakainin yun.
Earlier, about 300 personal protective kits were sent to the avian flu command post. These will be worn by soldiers involved in the culling operations. Soldiers from the 7th Infantry Division Philippine Army of Fort Magsaysay will have alternating schedule. 90 soldiers are part of the first shift of the culling operation from 6 to 10 in the morning. The second shift will begin at 6 in the evening and will end at 10 p.m. The local government targets to finish the culling of more than 100,000 chickens, ducks, and quail eggs tomorrow. Meanwhile, the government prepared livelihood programs for those affected by the bird flu in the province.
So yung government, ang Department of Agriculture, meron silang ino-offer na livelihood programs na yung sure, na sinasabi nilang sure, na magbibigay sila ng 25,000 doon sa mga household na maliliit. 25,000 kung saan yung 5,000 free, tapos yung 20,000 payable in 3 years with no interest.
Leslie Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Internal Affairs Service of the Philippine National Police will file a case tomorrow against the Caloocan police personnel involved in the murder of 17-year-old Kian Delos Santos. Monokson will tell us why.
The Philippine National Police Internal Affairs Service will recommend tomorrow to PNP Chief Ronald Bato de la Rosa the filing of administrative case against 4 Caloocan police personnel who were involved in the killing of minor Kian Delos Santos. The police personnel were identified as PO3 Arnel Oares, PO1 Jerwin Cruz, PO1 Jeremias Pereda, and Caloocan City Police Chief Chito Bersaluna. The IAS confirms that 2 of the 4 police officers admitted that they were the ones in the CCTV footage with Kian. The individual affidavits of the 4 policemen will be compared against each other to check if their testimonies will match. The IAS also set to conduct summary hearings for the involved police personnel. The prosecutor from the IAS will resolve the case for 90 days to determine if the suspects are guilty or not.
Pagdating ng summary hearing, yun naman aming summary hearing officer is given 90 days to resolve the case, whether guilty or not guilty yung mga policeman.
Aside from the 4 policemen, the IAS is investigating 9 more Caloocan police personnel involved in the bloody operation. Meanwhile, PNP Chief Ronald Bato de la Rosa expressed dismay on the outcome of the Caloocan City Police operation. In a statement, the PNP chief said that the minor should not be killed whether he is a drug runner or not. Yesterday, President Rodrigo Duterte also expressed that the involved police personnel must be put behind bars if they will be proven guilty of killing Kian. Mon Hokson, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
The Senate will conduct on Thursday a probe on the Philippine National Police drug raid operation that led to the death of 17-year-old Kian Delos Santos. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
But Kian can be the last, Mr. President, or one of the last. Maaari pa natin pigilan ang mga susunod na Kian.
Mr. President, we need to put an end to these killings. We need to hold persons in positions of power and authority accountable to the Filipino people.
Liberal Party senators in today's plenary session expressed their concern regarding the death of 17-year-old Kian Delos Santos, who was killed in a drug operation of the Philippine National Police in Caloocan City. After the majority caucus, Senator Panfilo Lacson says they decided to conduct a probe on the administration's war on drugs. Lacson says there may be some lapses on the operation of the PNP.
Maski noong panahon ko, dapat may kasama. Kung halimbawang intelligence unit yung nakakaalam ng lugar, dapat talaga may kasamang uniform. At saka pag nagko-conduct o nag-implement ng search warrant, automatic yun magko-coordinate sa barangay.
The Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, chaired by Senator Lacson, will lead the probe on PNP drug raid operation on Thursday. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
President Rodrigo Duterte assures that he will not pardon all policemen involved in the killing of 17-year-old student Kian Lloyd Delos Santos. Rajel Adora will tell us why.
U.S. Ambassador to the Philippines Sung Kim extended his condolences to the bereaved family of student Kian Delos Santos. The ambassador hopes that authorities will soon identify those responsible for the crime. Meanwhile, Kian's grandfather Antonio Santos continuously appeals for justice and for the immediate capture of those who killed his grandson.
Pwede kong patawarin, pero bigyan mo ng katarungan yung anak ko. Maganda yun para maparusahan, para hindi tularan mo. Ayan, kamukha ng ibang mga inosente. Wala namang, kailangan alamin niya ang gusto.
Last night, President Rodrigo Duterte announced that he will never grant pardon to any policeman involved in the killing of the minor.
You have no duty to murder a person, to arrest him, and if there is resistance to overcome his arrest, and in the process killing him, yan ang performance of duty. O yung arestado na, nakaupo na dyan, barilin mo, that's another thing. That is, could be murder or homicide, whatever. Sige.
The president stresses that it cannot be used as evidence in court, the intelligence report that allegedly Kian was a drug courier.
You cannot use it in court or to the people. Those are just information gathered by the police or the military. It is an internal thing. Hindi mo sabi itong intel na ito, may mali yan.
The president's statement somehow eased the burden of the grieving family.
Napasalamat po ako na bibigyan ng hustisya yung anak ko kasi wala namang kinalaman talaga sa ganong gawain yung anak ko eh. Ngayon parang nakinampihan na niya po yung anak ko at nalaman niya yung katotohanan. Siyempre po nalabawasan ang pagkatakot namin sa aming buhay.
Regella Dora, UNTV News Rescue, Philippines.
Meanwhile, Senator Laila de Lima files a motion before the Supreme Court to allow her to attend the Senate probe on the killing of teenager Kian Delos Santos this Thursday, August 24 at 2 in the afternoon. De Lima explains that her detention at the PNP Custodial Center prevents her from performing her duties as representative of the people. She noted that the court previously granted furlough to other accused for birthday, Christmas, and New Year's celebrations. She also stressed she is not a flight risk and has no intention of evading the cases filed against her.
The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, or LTFRB, encourages the public to file complaints against transport network companies which implement unjustifiable surge pricing. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
Some netizens expressed their dismay over the high fare of the transport network company Grab following LTFRB's suspension order against Uber. LTFRB Chairperson Martin Delgra says as several complaints have already reached their office, the agency is still encouraging the public to file their complaints against abusive TNVS. And if Grab indeed committed unfair surge pricing, it will also be penalized by LTFRB.
I was told about it and we have been monitoring it, and we have told Grab to stay on the cap that we have imposed as early as December 27, 2016, where they are allowed a surge of twice as much as the basic rate. I will have to call their attention as regards that. If need be, we will penalize Grab as well.
Grab mentioned that surge pricing will be normal since there are higher demand from commuters after the suspension of Uber. However, increase is inevitable not only during peak hours and rainy days.
There might be some slight increase because what happens now is kung dati nagsisurge lang siya during peak hours, there might be more times during the day na hit yung surge algorithm at nag-a-adjust yung prices.
Meanwhile, Delgra addresses an online query of a netizen asking if pulling a ride with friends who volunteer to shell out cash for a gasoline expense is considered a colorum ride. The LTFRB chief says this falls under the Public Service Law and should follow the regulation on public transportation. However, this will be a different case if the ride will be free.
When you take in a passenger for a fee, then you undertake a public transportation service. If you don't, wala.
Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
Next on Y News. Government troops reclaim Marawi Police Station from the Maute terror group.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines belies a brewing coup plot against President Rodrigo Duterte among its ranks.
And payment of toll fees in NLEX, SCTEX, and Cavitex turns online.
Y News will be right back.
Hundreds of students of Mindanao State University are back to school today despite the ongoing unrest in Marawi City. Victor Cosare will tell us why.
Before going to the university, the students have undergone thorough inspection conducted by the school faculty and the military. During a program held before the classes resumed, the students, parents, and teachers went emotional because of what they have experienced with the presence of terrorist groups. Despite their fears, students still believe in returning to their university.
The God Almighty is here, and we all know nga sila nang bahala ba. Grabe ang ginagawa ng mga AFP para mawala na talaga tuluyan yung mauti, yung may ISIS ba. We know that we are safe.
Meanwhile, authorities assure the safety and security of students inside the MSU campus.
The assurance ay basta dito sila, manahimik po sila at dito sila sa loob ng kanilang mga dormitory at sa kanilang sa eskwelahan po at yung ating kasundaluhan at ang ating kapulisan ay na sumisiguraduhan na sila po mabibigyan ng siguraduhan.
The MSU administration says of the 12,000 students, only 8,000 enrolled this school year in the university. The university administration hopes the situation in the campus will return to normalcy.
Doon sa mga estudyante na hindi pa na-enroll, come back, balik kayo because MSU is something. Once an MSU wants, always an MSU wants.
Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Police Chief Ronald De La Rosa confirms that authorities have reclaimed today the police station in Marawi City that was turned into a hideout of the Maute terror group. De La Rosa revealed the good news during the 116th Police Service anniversary of the PNP Regional Office 8 in Camp Canglion, Palo, Leyte. The police chief is proud to say that such accomplishments is through the combined efforts of the police and soldiers who are fighting to re-establish peace and order in Marawi City.
Informing me that they have just retaken the Marawi City police stations. And I'm so happy. Gusto kong maiyak sa tuwa dahil alam nyo, yung police station natin, that is our source of pride. That is our identity. Pag yan ay naagaw ng kalaban, para na rin tayong nawala ng identity.
The PNP chief also revealed that government troops have recovered bones inside the reclaimed station, which included those of Senior Inspector Edwin Placido, the Deputy Chief of Marawi Police. The Armed Forces of the Philippines belies reports regarding a group of military men planning to oust the chief executive. Lea Elagan will tell us why.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, strongly denies an outer plot against President Rodrigo Duterte, particularly coming from the group called Patriotic and Democratic Movement, or PADEM, which is composed of cops and soldiers.
The entire AFP, along with all the men and women of the uniformed services and all our civilian personnel, stand by the constitutionally mandated government and unequivocally supports the Commander-in-Chief.
AFP Public Affairs Office Chief Colonel Edgar Arevalo says the entire military, including their civilian personnel, fully support the Commander-in-Chief.
The accusations and issues cited by the group are unfounded and uncalled for. Such issues are clearly politically motivated and a matter that they do not subscribe to.
Arevalo claims PADEM is just politicizing the president. He says the public should not believe such a group. The military official also calls on the people to not allow themselves be used for political by any groups. He says they should wait instead for the decision of the Supreme Court on the issues hurled against the president and his son, like the allegations of extrajudicial killings in the administration's war on drugs, and Vice Mayor Paulo Duterte's alleged involvement in smuggling in the Bureau of Customs. Arevalo also emphasizes that the AFP serve as the defender of those who follow the law, but that it won't also hesitate to act against those causing harm. Meanwhile, Malacanang says groups like PADEM should be careful in issuing controversial statements.
We base our statement on the AFP's own assessment that it is a politically motivated group and that we should be wary of their statements.
Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue Camp Aguinaldo.
Meanwhile, former Social Welfare Secretary Judy Taguiwalo hopes the next department chief will continue the changes she has started. Leslie Langboen tells us why.
Former Social Welfare and Development Secretary Judy Taguiwalo formally bids farewell to the employees of the department after being rejected by the Commission on Appointments. She says she has done her best during the short period of time she's in position. She adds she has protected the department from the vested interests of others. This is why she hopes that as she leaves, the next DSWD chief will continue what she has started.
May ipinunla tayo ngayon sa 14 na taong buwan na ito. Ang iba tutubo para talaga sa pagtatanim. Ang iba mamamatay, ang iba ay matatapakan. Pero yun nga, kailangan talaga umasa tayo na may kaya ng pagbabago.
Meanwhile, the former secretary also admits she knows the possibility that she may not remain in the position for a long time.
Alam ko naman na malabong tatagal ako. Bakit? Kasi I serve at the pleasure of the President.
Apart from thanking the people who have been part of her administration in DSWD, she also sent a message to the President.
So Mr. President, I keep faith with you. Nalulungkot lang ako kasi I don't think you kept faith with me at the end. But still, thank you for allowing me to serve the Filipino people as a member of your cabinet.
Undersecretary Emmanuel Leico has been appointed as DSWD officer in charge. Taguiwalo is the third cabinet member of President Rodrigo Duterte who got rejected by the CA, following former Foreign Affairs Secretary Perfecto Yasay and Environment Secretary Gina Lopez. Leslie Langboen, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Metro Pacific Tollways Corporation launches today an electronic payment system at toll gates on the North Luzon Expressway, Subic-Clark, Tarlac, and Cavitex Expressway. Joe Anano tells us why.
Long lines of vehicles at toll gates. This is a very common scene when motorists stream expressways, especially during long vacation holidays and rush hours. Because of this, the Metro Pacific Tollways Corporation or MPTC and the AF Payments Incorporated launched today an electronic payment system at toll gates on the North Luzon Expressway, Subic-Clark, Tarlac, and Cavite Expressway. Using their EasyTrip RFID, beep cards, and MasterCard contactless cards, motorists can now pay their toll fees without releasing cash. The said project is in line with the National Retail Payment System Program of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas or BSP. It aims to turn electronic the system of payment in up to 20% of all government transactions in the country.
It allows customers to be more flexible insofar as their payment experience is concerned. So they can use the card to pay, for example, in the tollway, but they can also use the card to pay in the gasoline station. They can use the card to pay also in the convenience store.
The MPTC has yet to allot special lines for motorists using e-payment cards, as it is still looking into how many motorists will get into the said system.
As we increase transaction, as we increase usage of the contactless cards, that's something that we can in the future plan of putting dedicated contactless cards.
The cashless payment can now be used at toll gates on SCTEX and Cavitex. However, motorists flying NLEX can use the cashless payment scheme only on Balintawak up to Marilao exit northbound lane. The MPTC and its private partners target to fully implement cashless payment at all NLEX toll gates by the third quarter of 2018. Motorists can buy load for their payment cards through various convenience stores, supermarkets, and malls across the country. Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
In other news, a fire is still in progress at a 5-story commercial building along Rizal Avenue near the LRT-1 Bambang Station in Manila. Initial information from the ground says the fire broke out at around 5 in the afternoon, affecting the 3rd and 4th floors of the building, which are used as warehouse of medical supplies. A fire volunteer identified as Mark Cruz had temporarily passed out due to suffocation. Due to the fire, the LRT-1 operation was limited from Central Terminal to Baclaran and from Monumento to Roosevelt stations. Portions of Rizal Avenue from Doroteo Jose to Tayuman is closed to traffic as well.
A family from the United Kingdom grabs a chance to visit the Wish FM bus in their special trip in the Philippines. They claim it's been their long-time wish to experience the country's one and only FM radio on wheels. Leslie Longboan tells us why.
The Holbert family, who hails from the United Kingdom, considers the whole household as avid listeners of Wish 107.5. Steph, the youngest in the family, was the one who first discovered the FM station through YouTube. She says she got even more awed by Filipino singers through the Wish-exclusive videos she watches.
Amazing. Just one word. Amazing. The standard, incredibly high. I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube of people reacting to the videos, and they all say basically the same thing, that amazing, that they love it.
All members of the Holbert family are musically inclined, and Phil, the head of the family, is himself a singer in the UK. That is why when he and wife Edna celebrated their 25th wedding anniversary in the Philippines, the whole family grabbed the chance to visit the Wish bus to complete their trip in the country.
I think it's really, really good. There's nothing like it in the UK or Europe. I don't know of any other radio station that's doing it, but it's a fantastic idea.
Phil admits he is impressed with the talents of Filipinos.
The standard of musicians and singers and artists in the Philippines is absolutely first class. World class, really outstanding.
The Holberts are just some of the growing community of wishers across the globe. Wish 107.5 is the #1 YouTube channel in the country, which now has over 482 million views and 1.3 million subscribers worldwide. Leslie Longboan, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Audience in the special screening of Isang Araw, Ikatlong Yugto say the movie should reach more Filipinos. Maki Libradilla will tell us why.
Laughter and tears overflow at Teatro Marikina last night as Mariqueños watch the movie produced by Kuya Daniel Razon, Isang Araw Lang, Ikatlong Yugto.
Marami pong natutunan. Naiyak nga ako nakakaiyak.
Isang Araw, Ikatlong Yugto is not only for ordinary Filipinos alone, but for those who are in the government. For Manilin, police all over the country should watch this movie.
Dahil po para po makita nila kung ano yung halimbawa na mabuting ginagawa ng totoong polis.
Another fan of Isang Araw movie, Jemsa, hopes the movie could reach more Filipinos, especially the youth.
Napupulutan po ng aral. Maraming aral na napupulutan po sa mga kabataan. Para sa akin, kailangan manood ng, kung pwede, in the public. Para mapanood ng lahat ng tao. Kasi sobrang ganda.
Ferlin, on the other hand, became emotional while watching the film. She said the movie is unique.
Kasi po bihira lang yung ganong movie na parang ine-emphasize yung Diyos. Yung ganun. Kasi parang usually sa ibang movie na parang lagi lang doon sa, alam mo na yung mangyayari. Like, katulad ng asawa ko, pag sinasabi nanonood ako ng movie, sabi, niloloko lang daw kasi alam mo na yung ending. Ito parang hindi mo alam yung magiging ending.
Meanwhile, Mariqueños got a chance to mingle with superstar Miss Nora Honor in the movie tour. Ate Guy says she is excited for another movie with Kuya Daniel Razon.
More than willing po.
More than willing.
Oo, at hihintay ko po yung araw na yun na makagawa po ako ng pelikulang gano'n. Yung ginawa naman namin ay kapupulutan ng aral at para sa akin po noon, nakikita ko naman na talagang pagka pinalabas yung movie, na talagang pinanood nila dahil nagandaan sila sa storya. At mayroon pa akong nakausap na umiyak nung mapanood yung movie.
Maki Libradilla, UNTV News and Rescue, Marikina City.
Coming up on Y News, Americans across the United States cheered as they witnessed a rare total solar eclipse after 99 years.
Negotiations are underway for the Manny Pacquiao-Jeff Horn rematch in Manila.
And competitors put their best foot forward for this year's Toe Wrestling Championship.
More from Y News after this break.
Senator Manny Pacquiao confirms an upcoming rematch with Australian Jeff Horn. This after the former champ lost the boxing title to the Australian boxer. Pacquiao says the negotiations are ongoing for the rematch to be held in Manila, contrary to earlier reports that the rematch will take place in Brisbane, Australia.
Win-workout pa ngayon, hindi pa namin ma-announce fully dahil magne-negotiate pa tayo. Pero kinakausap namin mga willing na tumulong, sumuporta, mag-finance para dito ganapin yung fight.
Pero sure kayo.
Two Filipino gymnasts today clinched 2 gold medals in the 2017 Southeast Asian Games. Caitlin de Guzman got a gold after scoring 12.875 points in the women's gymnastics uneven bars category. Raylan Capellan also got gold after defending his title in gymnastics in the artistic floor category. Also, another gold was added to the Philippines from Agatha Wong, who bested 10 competitors in the Wushu women's Taiji Kwan category. Meanwhile, pool maestros Efren Bata Reyes and Francisco de la Cruz failed to make it to the English billiards quarterfinals. The magician says they already expected this to happen as they are not used to playing this kind of billiards. As of this evening, the Philippines already has 22 medals consisting of 7 golds, 8 silver, and 7 bronze medals and still ranks 6th based on the official medal tally.
It was a fruitful experience for volunteers from Member Church of God International to be of service to the community in Christchurch, New Zealand. Jessica S. Lava will tell us why.
Members Church of God International, or MCGI, joined the environment group Trees for Canterbury in planting over 1,000 of trees in a tree planting activity in the South Shore Reserve, Christchurch, New Zealand. The MCGI members were among those who volunteered to provide services to the public and to help the local government by joining such noble endeavor. Gladness was obvious on the faces of the volunteers as they did a huge contribution to the community, especially since it is considered a conservation area.
And for yourselves as a Filipino community in Christchurch, it also gets you involved, brings you back, brings you into the community and expands it. Rather than standing on the outside, you're part of the community, and I think it's really important. And I've been excited today, seeing so many of you here and working alongside of you.
Our Kasangbahays are hoping that the said planting activity would help prevent the disastrous impact of calamities and floodings, which sometimes happen due to lack of trees. Jessica Eslava for Serbisyong Kasangbahay.
A movie written and directed by a 13-year-old Filipino-American teenager will join in this year's Sundance Independent Film Festival. Roby de Guzman will tell us why.
Obedience to parents is the theme of the indie film Life is What You Make It. Julia Rosacilla, the director and writer of the film, explains teenage pregnancy is a huge problem now in the United States. She wants her creation to serve as an inspiration to the youth and as a bridge to maintain a teenager's relationship with his or her parents. At the very young age of 13, Julia wants to showcase the importance of the youth's responsibility to adults.
I wrote this because to teach a lesson to everyone. I mean, the moral of the story is that there should be good parental skills and obey your parents.
Those skilled in the field of filmmaking believe Julia's film could help the youth survive the changing times.
This was a wonderful representation of many of the challenges that adolescents and teenagers face at school with their peers, trying to maintain status as a good student, and most importantly, the importance of their parents and the family and the support system that is available to adolescents and teenagers.
The indie film garnered praises, not just from university students and parents, but also from known directors in the field of filmmaking and stage play in the United States.
Yeah, it was a great film, and I really loved the directing and the cinematography. The actors were really great, and they deserve a spot at the Academy Awards.
I'm really proud of the students, and of course Jason, my friend. He really put like a lot of work to make this happen. All the crews are really good. The storytelling is good, and you can learn a lot of things from it. So keep it up.
It's a really great movie, and you can actually see the students showing their talent. So this is a great way to actually enhance their talent in acting, and looking forward for more movies like this.
Julia's indie film was nominated in the narrative feature category in the Sundance Film Festival. Robbie de Guzman, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Those are the reasons behind the news, August 22, 2017. I'm Angelo Castro III.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am William Theo.
And I'm Darlene Basingan, because we need to know.
We will always ask why. Thank you for watching.
Why News.